So I am the Vice President of Internet Society Venezuela chapter and also the chair of the LACNIC Public Policy Forum. I have been working in all related in human rights in my country, and also I have been working in projects related to bring internet access to people in rural areas in my country. So to start with the presentation, I want to say that.
I'm just saying I don't have the presentation yet, so just give me a moment.
Okay, I sent you by email, right?
Yeah, but I'm going to capture it from you. Let me see. Let me try this one. See if that works.
So we took this like a conversation just to in the context of the work carried out by the Internet Society. So in Venezuela, we are currently experiencing the deterioration of the internet connectivity in my country, and everything I will say will be under the position as an end user. No, it's like a vice president or something like that. So the last news, the private internet connectivity and academic network have been degraded. In February of this year, 12 universities in the country were on the verge of running out of LACNIC IP resources for a government debt of less than $8,000. So according to Akamai's report the last year called The State of the Internet, Venezuela again had the lowest average connection speed at 2.9 megabits per second. It is just up from 2.2 in the third quarter. According to Akamai's the last year report, The State of the Internet, in reviewing the average page load time measurements for broadband connections, Venezuela is the lowest country broadband page load time, where web pages took 6.0 seconds to load. To load on an average nearly 5 times as long as Israel with 1.4 seconds. According to the report of the Freedom House called Freedom on the Net of this year, the internet freedom status of Venezuela was downgraded. Venezuela went from partly free to not free amid a broader crackdown on political rights and civil liberties following President Nicolás Maduro's, in May the last year, declaration of a state of emergency and economic emergency, which was renewed in May this year. To start, in 2009, a decree was issued establishing that access to the internet in Venezuela was a sumptuary expense for the public administration, including universities. Having been Latin America country power, Venezuela was the Latin American country power some years ago. Nowadays, Venezuela has deterioration and stagnation on internet penetration. According to Akamai's report the last year, the average connection speed does not exceed 2.9 megabits per second. And the most serious, the rights to communication, education, and work have been violated or affected for this situation. There are many organizations and people who work every day documenting blockades, fake news, troll public policies, with emphasis on privacy and respect for personal integrity, violation of human rights and personal integrity that affect the Venezuelan digital environment. The media are controlled by the government, and Venezuelans only have social media, and Venezuela only have social media to find out what is happening in the country. So we don't have all the news on the TV. We only use the social media just to know about the situation that is in the country, in different cities. All related to logs. In Venezuela, we don't enjoy an open, free, and secure internet. Websites and social media are constantly blocked by the average Venezuelan regulator called CONATEL, and the pressure that they exert on internet provider services. Uncomfortable material, filtered documents, images, protests, and conflicts is located by a simple public official. If this person see of this one of these reasons, can send to block by the DNS or IP address to any any web page, media or social media referring mostly to the foreign currency, because we have exchange control. So this data that the people share every day about the currency is maybe is blocked sometimes, because the government don't want that the people know about it. So without need to request a court order. It will be through an email to the regulator and the internet provider, except very specific cases, contrary to what is done in the international standard. This means that the mass media are not part of the information ecosystem that the Venezuelan receives, as it should be. That is, the quality of our rights cannot be exercised online and much less offline. About surveillance. Since 2007, it has been recorded that the Venezuela government has massive monitoring programs, such as Find Fisher. They bought this software. So since 2010, we saw the creation of bots called Chavez Candanga to increase the number of followers in government social media, or to generate trends in state opinion through the use of trending topics on Twitter. Hacking social media of opposition activists has been reported. Since 2011, journalists have been a source of harassment and persecution affecting the freedom of expression. During 2014, many have been the victims of legal proceedings that end in prison, as the case of the opposition leader Leopoldo Lopez for tweeting and leaking a video on YouTube. The most worrying thing is that we are facing a state that has massive data collection that has been collected for some years by biometric system that the government has. So almost anything can be considered treason to the fatherland or call to the violence, even by publishing photos of the deaths in protests. Venezuela doesn't have a personal data protection law. Infrastructure. The deterioration of the infrastructure in Venezuela is more than obvious today. Through disinvestment plans run by the state, the issue of investing in technology is not a priority. According to Access, the general number of the ITU for the last year, about 60% of the country is connected. Already for this year, a decrease of 2% is seen, especially because of the increase in rates for internet operators. The minimum salary of this year, according to the official gazette in November 1st this year, the minimum salary is for 56,057 bolivars, while a private internet provider plan of 10 megas is currently paid 28,000 bolivars. So it means that it's the 7% of the current minimum salary. It is estimated that this date it will be increased to 50,000 bolivars. That means the 55% of the current minimum salary, which happened that is not, the internet becomes a not priority background expense for the Venezuelan citizens. The internet in Venezuela has been invested very little. It has been thought to massify the government massify the network with a very poor quality. It means that they have projects like internet for everyone, which that brings Wi-Fi in the public places or computers, according to the project Canaima Education. That is a program that distributing free computers in a school, that works in inclusion and access, but they offer a poor service. So it's like a null work. So what should be done? The government and all the internet providers have to buy equipment to improve the quality of service. What don't they do? Why don't they do? Because Venezuela have a control exchange of foreign exchange system that prevents the private sector from investing in Venezuela. So why the government doesn't? It's because they are the priority in other things. Intimidation and violence. We see in the middle of all the tension that we are living right now about all the political issues, a series of anti-government protests. The journalists face assaults and threats to cover these events. So they are including arbitrary arrests, confiscation of equipment, threats, physical attacks by the state security force and pro-government groups. Connectivity restriction. Users continuously report massive failures that have sometimes lasted up to more than 12 hours. The interruption is attributed to several cuts made in the fiber optic network in a deliberate manner, and it's reported that they have been victims of sabotage. I don't know how can I say in English. The government, as responsible, has not yet reported on the findings of investigation or detentions. So, how to collaborate? You can disseminate this information to academic communities and public policy organizations worldwide. Support projects that require international investment to give internet access to communities. Support the development of a software against surveillance or tools, among others. Achieve the transport of technological inputs to Venezuela. So, like bring computers, telephones, among others, normally, because we don't have the last technology in the country right now. Exert international pressure on the government when communities are affected in the violation of their human rights. This helps to reverse those changes. So thank you, and this is my contact. So if you had any question or commentaries.
About about the action that you want to take in order to improve the internet in Venezuela, you mentioned in the previous slide.
Yes.
You mentioned several things, and how can you implement them with the situation currently in Venezuela? Because it's not so easy to take action.
The collaborate?
Like for example, transporting technical input to Venezuela, entry of computers, telephonics, etc.
Okay, for example, I was working the last year in a project of Internet Society, but it was in Latin America, that it was about bringing internet connectivity to one rural area. So how can you involve on this? We bought all the equipment, or the routers, all of this. We bought it outside. We bought it here in the United States. So maybe if you know organization that could help to, I don't know, maybe they have routers that they don't use anymore, something like that. You can take it to send it to Venezuela, because we need a lot of equipment,
Yeah, but I saw that it was like very difficult to to cross the border with things because there are control.
Yeah, it's difficult because $1 in Venezuela is a lot of money right now. So if you buy the last technology outside, it's gonna be a lot of money to implement projects.
I have a question. Like, I want to know if the people over there, how can they have access to a computer? Like over here, if you have the money, you can go to Apple and buy a computer. But how about over there? If you have the money, where can you buy a computer? Do they sell it in the store like here?
Yeah.
Like this easy or not?
Right now, to be honest, it's not easy, because the things are too expensive, and the private sector is for them it's very hard to bring in, things from outside. So it's easy for the people that is in the public school, the students, the children, because the government gave them little laptops that calls Canaima. So they have a project with the Canaima education that I mentioned. Let me see. They have project with the Canaima, the laptops that called Canaima. So they are in all the schools for the children, and also they bring internet connectivity in the public places. But it's not easy to, if I am the normal, I know in the government and I know in a public school, it's not easy for me to get a computer or maybe the last phone, because right now all the majority of the internet connection is by mobile phone, by phones. So it's difficult right now in Venezuela to have all of this.
But I guess everyone has a phone over there, a cell phone.
Yeah, but it's not like the last technology, it's like old technology.
Maybe not everyone has a computer or laptop, but everyone has a phone.
Yeah, but it's not like the last technology, it's old technology.
And they can get the internet there, on the phone.
Yeah, and we have internet, but the internet data plans are not enough to we need. You know, for example, for 1 month, if I pay my rent, my data, my mobile data in Venezuela, I can spend this on 1 day, because when I open a web page, it's very, very slow, and my data is over in 1 day. So we have problems on this. We have problems on the quality of the internet that they offer, and we only depend of one internet provider service that is the main provider in all Venezuela, and it brings internet connectivity to the privacy internet providers. So we depend on them, from the government.
Yeah, I guess that was my question on like how many players there are both in the internet and also the telecom space. Is the telecom industry also government regulated, or is it private in a way?
The what? Sorry.
Telecom companies, like the phone companies. For this.
Okay, we have privacy companies, but they depend on the regulator, the Conatel. So if Conatel said you have to block all the, I don't know, this kind of DNS, the privacy have to block. So we have block everywhere. In most of the logs are about the currency and about the protests or photos that are against the government.
And what are some of the main use cases for internet in Venezuela? Is it commerce? Is it banking? Is it education? Like, what do people mostly use it for?
What? Is it the internet?
They use it, yeah. Because in some areas, I know, like, well, I could use that example of China. Like, China still blocks internet, but we've also seen some of the globally competitive businesses come out of there.
Yeah, we don't have blocks like in China.
Yeah.
But we are on this way maybe.
It's more so yours is more surveillance than restriction.
Yeah. And the government always want to scare the people. So, for example, they see if you vote in the elections against me, I gonna know that you vote against me because I have all my systems like cloned. So it's all about they want to scare all the people. So the majority of data that Venezuelans use is all about social media, Instagram, Facebook, because it's the only thing that we have in Venezuela right now to know about what is happening in the country.
And And so who is organizing action? Because right now you are raising awareness, but you also are taking action, right? You have projects on.
Yeah, I'm not really on the field that well, I want to be on this field, that I want to give the tools to all the citizens, how to improve the blogs or how to improve. But there are many people and organizations that are bringing the tools for the citizens to against the blogs, against to use correctly the internet. So with my projects, I'm giving the tools to how to use internet correctly in the good way. For it serves all about education. So when I bring internet connectivity to the rural area called Los Nevados, all the children say, "Oh, I want I want the Facebook. I want Facebook." So they don't know how to use internet as a education tool. So I am working on this. Not only bring the access, just bring the good way to use the internet.
And how is the Venezuelan diaspora in the US supportive to what you do? Are they involved in that?
No.
And why not?
Because sometimes I'm scared about it to have a big voice on these issues in my country, because.
And I speak of the diaspora, like the Venezuelans who live abroad, like who are exiled or who live like in Miami or New York.
Yeah. But I mean, we are not organized like that. And actually, I'm living in Venezuela, so yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
You're in a very special situation then.
Yeah, I still living on my country. Actually, I am developing right now a project by Internet Society that brings internet connectivity to a school with children with disabilities. So I think that we have good ideas to implement in Venezuela, but we need the help to everybody, including the government, because they have the internet provider service.
We have some questions from online. Well, first is Carlos Martinez Cañazo from LACNIC, who says hi. And then Aquino Ribeiro has a question. The main issue I heard in Venezuela is throttling, reducing connection speed. Don't telco operators complain about the government?
Where can I read this? Because I want to read to understand.
Well, it's throttling, throttling?
Okay, to trust, okay.
Yeah, so if the government is throttling, she's saying the telco, do they not complain about, so I don't understand how the government can throttle, but if, if you're a telephone company, you want to give service to your customers. So if the government is stopping you, then the customers aren't happy. So the telephone companies, they can't be happy. Are they unhappy about this?
They don't care.
They don't care as long as they make money, huh?
Yeah, they don't care.
So
of course, the privacy sector always has the problem with the customers and the Twitter. We only use the Twitter to write, oh, I don't have good internet, or you are paying for a data plan and it's not what I'm paying because I have lowest quality. But I mean, they don't care, or maybe they care, but they cannot do nothing.
If there was good internet, surely they would do more business.
Yeah.
And then I have a question about, at the Radical Networks conference, there was a presentation about Cuba. And they were showing that in Cuba, there was a lot of community networks that are not necessarily connected to the internet, but they're connected to each other. So basically it's like content distribution networks, but everybody's got like a router on a pole or an antenna, and so if one person gets the movie, then everybody in the whole neighborhood gets the movie. They distribute it like that.
Yeah, it was the same idea that the government in Venezuela took, that to bring routers in the public places, but the quality is not good, so it's like null. You can get access for a minute, but in 1 minute later,
Right.
you
I'm saying
don't
not
have
access to the internet. You know, you're about data to the internet, but this is like, you know, like you have a network in your house. You don't have to pay for a connection in your house.
Okay.
You don't have to pay for a connection if you're just hooking to your neighbor's.
Okay.
You know, if he has it on his hard drive, then you can watch it too. Do you know what I mean? That kind of thing.
Yeah.
Is there that kind of thing going on?
Well, I don't know really about this, but maybe they have this kind of projects. In the future.
Would it get to a level where if there was an alternative system, it would be considered illegal? Like,
Sorry.
like how big
Okay.
does the alternative internet have to be considered illegal by the government, or the government wouldn't mind to have these sort of innovations?
Illegal, they consider legal the anonymous.
Anonymous browsing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if they can track it, it's fine. If they can't track it, then...
No. Exactly.
You know, in Hong Kong, when they had the protest, they used a thing called fire chat, where people can just talk to each other. They don't have to, you know, go through the end provider. There's with Mesh, you know, here in New York we have NYC Mesh, and people can exchange data around the mesh without having to go out, you know, through the gateway to the thing. So, you know, there are other things. What's interesting, you know, is to contemplate is how much new projects with satellite are going to change this. Because if someone else puts a satellite up over Venezuela and people can just reach that satellite, the government can't
the
control
government has a satellite. Well, they have 3 of them. But the biggest one is the Simón Bolívar satellite that brings internet access to rural areas. So it's good. It's got a good project, but it's the same problem that they don't have good quality. So you cannot use the internet or the telecommunication as a good thing in your life. It's just you have it, but you cannot use it.
So a lot of companies like Facebook have alternative, and this is sort of the case for Africa as well. They have slimmer, like lighter versions of the applications. I think it's usually called Facebook Lite, or Google has now these fast loading websites that they're pushing people to adopt. There's a sort of other, like you mentioned, other organizations, including Opera Mobile, which is really common across Africa as well, as a browser that sort of compresses websites or allows them to load faster. So do you see, in addition to the internet solution, do you see partnerships with these organizations also helping? Because you can still access the internet.
No, actually, I didn't heard yet about it.
Yeah.
But I wrote to Google, the project to Google Balloon,
Yeah.
that it will serve for us, but they don't
They
answer.
haven't got it there, yeah.
But yeah, I hope that they can help us and all the countries in developing way,
Yeah.
because we really need it. We need to be a digital country. So
How do you compare? I know you started off by mentioning the Akamai report, but comparatively to your neighbors within the region, how is that in terms of, like, if you look at maybe
I have the report, and I saw that we are in the lowest level. So maybe we can compare with
Right.
Cuba.
Yeah, because if you
Cuba
look,
have
Cuba
the-
has had that
Cuba
mesh
have-
network
yeah.
for a while.
And Cuba has the best connectivity right now.
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting. Because they had the mesh peer-to-peer network for a long time, and Castro.
Yes, and actually we bring the fiber to them, to Cuba.
Yeah. In Cuba, it's peculiar because you're not allowed to bring in the routers, and by America it's forbidden. There's the embargo. In Cuba they have like a law that says that you can't, they can't bring it in. So people disassemble them into like little bits, and then bring them in, and then like reassemble them into so that they work.
Because I think
you see in the America and South America we have the
Argentina is I'm not surprised.
Yeah, Canada. No, well, Canada is not America. Paraguay is the biggest country with good internet connectivity. So they don't study Cuba. I don't know why, but I read that
Cuba
they have
was offline for a while. Like,
but right now they have more better internet connectivity than us.
Because it's always, I think, always interesting to, for most of these things, rather than copying exactly what works in the US, to start with what works locally.
Yeah.
Because you can't just copy everything, because the policies are different and the government support is different. So I was just interested to see how other countries are doing with it.
Yeah, maybe the government has to stop thinking about politics against them and start working on real things that contribute with the development in
like
our country.
That's why I was asking. Like the internet has been good for China's economic agenda.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
innovation. So they, as much as they monitor it, they still are aware that e-commerce or digital businesses, including even like cryptocurrency. I mean, Alibaba is like almost an Amazon, bigger than Amazon even. So I think perhaps looking at it from the education lens, but also the commercial lens, might actually help the government be more open, because then it becomes a commerce conversation.
Yeah, and also they have to work about cybersecurity, because if you see in the elections time, the next day the web page of the government are always hacked.
Do they hack them themselves?
Yeah, I don't know, but the thing is that the hackers post all the information on Twitter, so we see the data from all of the people from the government. Everybody see that, so they publish all of these and numbers in the accounts, all of it. So they don't have it. It means that the government don't have a good cybersecurity. Yeah.
So definitely, I think the challenge with having those like local internet initiatives is it's hard to scale them. So they still have to be in tandem with government or national initiatives. I know, like we were just talking earlier before we started that Rwanda has really good connectivity now in East Africa, and they've been very aggressive from a government perspective in trying to really improve rural connectivity and almost experimenting with different methods. But similarly in Nairobi or Kenya, which actually is known for like being very aggressive or innovative when it comes to
Kenya
technology.
is very good.
They have sort of supported like local entrepreneurs to come up with alternative solutions. And just recently there's a solution called Brick, which is like internet in a box, kind of what he was mentioning. It's literally, I think they connect to the telecom, like cache the content, and then like locally everybody can sort of use that router to access within a certain radius. They are now partnering with Facebook to scale that out in different regions.
So essentially it's a gateway.
Yeah, Yeah, and
Well,
so I think
hope that we can make a
think there's-
partner, a
yeah,
Facebook partner.
I think there's unique ways to approach it, but I think that peer-to-peer mesh model
Yeah.
often works as a first step, because it becomes more access to content, access to the large files that you're mentioning if somebody already has them.
It's interesting that the technology for mesh, a lot of it is coming out of South America. In fact, Argentina is leading, with the Libra software to enable this, open source meshing software and hardware, I think. We have another question online from Renata, who asks, where are civil society organizations which protest on the shutdowns? And Raisa Uribari has responded that there are Acceso Libre, Venezuela Intelligente, IPIS Venezuela, Espacio Publico, excuse my pronunciation, and also universities as ULA, which is where you come from, Paola. Is that right?
Yeah. So as I said, that many organizations and people work every day documenting blockades, fake news, role, public policies, violation of human rights and personal integrity that affect the Venezuelan digital environment. The name of all of these organizations are that Raisa said.
Okay. And Renata says, seen from the outside, one always wonders, what if there is more to be done? So what can we do? What can be done from people outside? What can we do to help Venezuela?
Yeah, I know that it's difficult to help another country, but I mean you can help posting the information of all of the organizations that are helping reporting or documenting all of the violations that we have. Support projects with, for example, Internet Society supports a lot of projects in the region, including Venezuela. Support software tools that the Venezuela wants to develop, and they need maybe help. You can help with that.
Okay, so maybe we're done.
Yeah, maybe you just re-mention your contact information and
Put your contact slide back up. Oh, I got it.
So thanks, Yoli, for the invitation. And
Are we offline?
We soon will be. We're going to clap and say very good.
thank you all.